Hey book besties, I officially did it. It's been a long time coming. I've always wanted to have a YouTube. I just lacked the confidence for the longest time and getting up the courage to make one. But here I am. I know that I am pretty late in joining, but somebody once said that better late than never. So here I am. My name is Rochelle. I know it looks like Rachel. Unfortunately, it is Rochelle. I live in SoCal and I am 30 years old. Also, unfortunately. Just kidding. Aging is a privilege. I've done this a little backwards. I've filmed a couple of videos just so I have some in a backlog ready to go so I don't feel the pressure of having to make an edit and post a video every single week. And I'm filming my Booktube Newbie after all of that. In my prior videos, you won't see any of this. I mean, you will, just in a different configuration. I'm gonna go through a couple of the Booktube Newbie tag questions, and the first one is why I decided to make this channel. I have been on Book Talk for coming up on a year at this point, and I found that I don't quite fit in there in some aspects because I really enjoy longer form videos, and everyone knows those don't always do the best on TikTok, where we are trained to do this quickly. Nobody wants to sit around for a 3+ minute long video, but I have a lot to say sometimes, shockingly. If you knew me in real life, you would know that I have a lot of social anxiety. Even getting to the point of doing this has been a lot, and I'm proud of myself. I've watched Booktube for a while, and I figured it was time to make the leap of being the audience to the creator. I want to build a good community. I realized that Booktube is full of a good collection of people, and it seems to be a very positive community from my experience. I'm mainly hoping to find similar book friends. Maybe we like the same book. Maybe we have different hobbies outside of books that more align than our book taste, or just somebody to talk to about books, because I'm pretty sure my boyfriend is sick of hearing me talk to him all day. He doesn't understand and he doesn't want to read. If I could find local friends, that would be even cooler. I'm not gonna put exactly where I live though. SoCal, and we're gonna leave it at that for now. I also plan to use this channel as a reading journal so that I can look back at my wrap-ups and my TBRs, reviews, and see my reading journey. It'll just be public this time. Next question is, what are unique things that you can bring to Booktube? Listen, I know this is a very overly saturated niche community, so it is harder to make a unique brand or impression, but I think I can bring some uniqueness in the sense that I read many different genres, and there isn't really anything that I won't read. I've read some very questionable things, but it's fun. I do love fantasy, horror, thriller, mystery, romance, dark romance. I'm not kidding. I will read pretty much anything. I even dabble in nonfiction, just a smidge. I like to find books that are less known, that deserve way more hype. I want to bring attention to those books instead of, you know, the big Book Talk and Booktube books, helping those authors get the attention that I think their book really deserves. There's been a few this year that I received as ARCs, and I still to this day don't know why I'm like the only person I know that's read them. Next question. This is starting to feel like a job interview. Moving on. What am I excited about with this new channel? Honestly, we're gonna go back to answer number one, the community. It's fun to create in general, and the fact that people watch it is insane. I feel like as long as I'm having fun, that's the best part. But if I can find people that have similar interests or find what I post to have of value, I couldn't ask for more. I just want to put myself out there on another platform, doing things that I'm starting to enjoy now that I understand how to do some of them. Editing kicked my butt for a while. Thumbnails are even harder, let me tell you. But I'm just excited to conquer my anxiety and talk about books. I mean, what better things are there to talk about, really? Why do I love reading? I have read since I can't even tell you, young, very young. My mom told me that when she would read me books, I would memorize them, and she would try to skip pages so that she could hurry up and put me to bed. And I would tell her, no, you missed a page. And I would tell her exactly what was on that page. So I guess I've just always loved reading. Once I got a little bit more aware of how not great the world can be, I used it as a form of therapy and escapism. When the world got a little too hard for my little brain to handle, I would pick up a book and disassociate pretty much into that world. And I think that's a reason that I connect with fantasy a little bit more than the other genres, because majority of the time they have pretty good world building, and it's nothing like your average world. And when you read that book, you are transferred into this different world where your real life concerns don't exist. And sometimes there's unicorns and fairies and dragons, and that sounds way cooler than the childhood I grew up with sometimes. That leads into what book series or books got me into reading. And I feel like a lot of people around my generation read Harry Potter, as did I. That was a big series for me to get into at a younger age. I also got into The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I have a Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter tattoo, and Game of Thrones. But obviously I didn't read Game of Thrones at a younger age. Nancy Drew, and I think that's why I like mysteries. Phantom Stallion, don't judge me. I am also a horse girl, and Goosebumps. And that's probably why I enjoy horror. Next question. What questions would I ask my favorite booktubers? Obviously, I'm gonna be super generic and ask them what's their favorite book and why, because I need to know. And secondly, what is their most notable interaction with someone in the booktube community? I remember the first time on TikTok, someone said they looked to me for recommendations, and I about cried because it made me feel so valued and seen, and that the countless hours I spent on content creating actually meant something to someone. Next, my most boring question. What challenges do I think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And like many Americans, it'll be work, because I have to pay for the roof over my head, and this thing costs a lot. Therefore, I work full time. I also have 3 dogs that vie for my attention, and once my boyfriend is off work, I usually spend time with him in the garage. He works a lot, so when he is off, I try to give him my undivided attention. The second part would be drawing inspiration to find something that is more unique. I feel like we see a lot of the same videos, but in this community, obviously you're gonna see a lot of similarities. There is only so much you can do as far as making a video about books. Therefore, you are going to see TBRs and wrap-ups and reviews and vlogs. So trying to bring something to the table that is unique to myself within those videos. Where do you read? I have a big reading chair. Right now my dog is in it, and my room is a mess because I am in the middle of doing an overhaul on everything. You will see it in my upcoming videos. It's oversized. It can fit me and probably 2 of my dogs, and I got it from Ashley Furniture. The only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't rock. I love me a good rocker or glider. Maybe one day I'll get one again. I also created a reading nook, which I made a video of that I will be posting here shortly. I will throw on Libby or Audible, Spotify. I'll listen to a book when I'm driving, when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm doing chores. Pretty much any time that I have free time, I am consuming a book in some form. The next question is, what type of books do I like to read? I feel like I answered that earlier, mainly fantasy, but I will read, again, pretty much anything. I just don't read too much nonfiction, but I'm trying to dip my toes in the water with that one. My book collection, I am also posting that in a later video because I set this up recently once I moved everything around in my room. That video will have literally every single book that I physically own. Again, mostly fantasy. What videos do I plan to make? Just like everyone else, but hopefully with my own special twist. I love TBR videos so that I can try and hold myself accountable and then look back and see how irresponsible I was. I like to do wrap-ups. I love to do reviews. Reading vlogs is something new to me because I don't really think there's a desire for that on TikTok. I did start making those once I decided that I would be doing this, and I've had so much fun. It's almost like I have somebody to talk to about the book that I'm reading, other than my dogs. They love the books though. They say I have good taste. How do I like to read? I will consume a book in any form that I can or that is cheapest because I read a lot. I have a Kindle. I take that with me when I'm traveling or my boyfriend's driving in the car, if I'm reading at night when we go camping. My favorite though is a physical hardcover because I can be rough with my books. While I think reading with a paperback is easier, I find that I damage them more frequently, and I like to keep my books looking like no one touches them. It's probably not a common thing. They're loved, I promise. Next question is, what is your reading goal for the year? I was very ambitious and set it to 150 books. I think I'm at 108. I've really fallen behind since starting all of this. Editing and whatnot was a bit of a learning curve. It took me a while to figure out all of that, so that did eat into my reading time. So far this month, I have read 1 book, which is very rare for me. What other interests do I have outside of books? I love music. That might actually probably be my first love. I love concerts, festivals, listening to music. In 2023, I think I was at a concert almost every weekend. If I could find a band that I liked playing nearby, which in SoCal isn't that hard to do, fortunately, I was there. This year, I haven't gone to that many just because we did just buy our first house. So it's taken us a little bit to recoup, and we had to furnish everything, even down to curtains and blinds. After furnishing and buying a house, we just didn't really have it in the funds to be at a concert as frequently, so we settled for festivals. We went to Sick New World, and we will be going to When We Were Young Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if we'll be going to any other concerts or festivals for the end of the year, but that should be enough for this year. I do see a lot of artists in festivals, so I guess that kind of makes up for the whole year. My other platforms where I make bookish content is just TikTok. Instagram isn't for me. I'm not very artsy with photos, so I just stick to TikTok, which my TikTok will be linked below, Rochelle's Reads. I try to post on that daily. I've just fallen behind because life has been lifing lately, but I promise I do usually 98% of the time post daily, and I will be going back to that now that I've made this video. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far, and I hope to see you in future videos. Hopefully we can chat and start forming our own little book club in this corner of YouTube. I appreciate anyone that gives me a chance by watching this, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Happy reading and happy Halloween soon.